All right, we're back with another episode, and my most frequently asked question for your guys' survey was how to grow a well-rounded chest. Now, obviously, you've come to the right place, and I'm going to break this down in a very simple way that hopefully most of y'all can understand. Now, obviously, when it comes to chest, what's going to be the first thing you notice when you obviously look at your chest? It's going to be, does it look round? Does it look full? And the one way to do this is you want to have a very developed upper chest. This is something that most people, in my opinion, neglect because a lot of people go for vanity metrics like, a heavy bench press, or they just try to go as much, heavy as possible, yada, yada, yada. And realistically speaking, there's a lot of mind muscle that comes into the training, and you don't really necessarily need to go super heavy unless you're going into powerlifting, which in my opinion, I would rather look good than be strong. So obviously when it comes to chest, let's get some stuff out of the way. You always want to have ideally two sessions per week per muscle, and you always want to incorporate a strength-based day and a hypertrophy-based day. Now, that doesn't mean a powerlifting-based day. What a strength day is basically a 85-ish% off of your one rep max. You want to kind of be around there. And you're going to obviously be doing maybe the 4 to 7 rep range. And then the second time around, when you're doing hypertrophy, you're going to do your typical 8 to 12 reps. Now, if you're somebody who's a beginner, you might want to do 2 to 3 sets per exercise, maybe 3 exercises max. If you're obviously a more advanced trainer, then you can obviously up the intensity and the volume. So maybe that looks like 3 exercises, maybe 4 sets. So what I typically like to do is whenever I'm going into a strength focused day, I always start with a heavy incline Smith machine. Now this can be put at a 45-degree angle. Obviously, the more inclined the bench is going to be, the more shoulder you're going to get into this. So keep that in mind. Now, I will typically do a maybe 3 to 4 working sets worth of a Smith machine incline press. The second variation I'm going to do when it comes to this workout is going to be some sort of either hammer strength or a incline dumbbell press on the bench. Those two in conjunction work very well in my opinion. I really only do about 3 exercises, so those are going to be the first 2. And then obviously I do some sort of fly. Now this can be ideally, I use cables, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be an incline bias. This can be either a mid or a high to low, just focusing on the squeeze. So kind of put your ego aside. Obviously, don't go super heavy on these. This is meant to kind of just drive the blood into the chest. And if you're somebody that just really can't get enough of chest training, then maybe you can throw in some sort of dips at the end of your workout. And then that way you can go more into your push workout. So you can go into like your shoulders and your triceps if that is your split. Now, obviously, you want to train each muscle group twice per week. So typically what I do is I do my chest days on Wednesdays and Fridays, I believe. And if it's not Friday, then it's going to be like Saturday. So ideally, you want to have about 48 hours of rest in between hitting any kind of muscle. Again, so this is pretty much going to be the best way to optimize both your protein synthesis and your recovery between hitting that same muscle. So more is not always better when it comes to training your muscles. You always want to have, like I said, at least 48 hours in between hitting that same muscle twice. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed, smash the like button, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.